Good evening. Let your body get a little heavier, just a little, heavier against whatever is holding you up right now. The mattress, the pillow, the cushion beneath you. Let your shoulders drop if they haven't already. Let your hands rest open, palms up or palms down, whatever feels softer. You do not need to do anything tonight. You have done enough for today. Whatever is unfinished can wait until morning, and it will still be there, and you will handle it then. Tonight, we are going to think about something slow, something long, one of the longest, most patient ideas in all of personal finance. We are going to think about retirement, not the anxious version of that word, not the spreadsheet version, the gentle version, the version that lives at the end of a long, patient financial life and simply waits there, wide and quiet, like an open morning. We will move through it slowly. There is no hurry here. There never is at this hour. So just breathe, let the room settle, and let us begin. The word retirement can carry a strange heaviness. For some people, it carries dread, the sense that something is ending, that a chapter is closing, perhaps more permanently than they are ready to admit. For others, it carries anxiety of a different kind, a fear that they are not prepared, that the number is too large, the timeline too short, the math too complicated to understand. Tonight, let us gently set all of that down. Because retirement, at its heart, is not an ending, and it is not a crisis. It is an arrival, a long-awaited arrival at a place where your time belongs entirely to you. Think about the years you spend working. They are good years, most often. There is meaning in them. There is rhythm and structure, and the satisfaction of contributing something. Those years are not wasted. But woven into all of that good is obligation. The hours that belong to someone else. The places you must be at times you did not choose. The alarm that does not care whether you are tired. The commute. The meeting that could have been handled differently. The slow erosion of mornings that are not quite yours. Retirement is the day that changes. It is the morning you wake not because something demands your waking, but because you are rested. It is the day you look at your calendar, and every hour on it was placed there by your own hand, for your own reasons. That is what retirement is at its core. not the end of life's story, the beginning of its most spacious chapter. And that chapter does not arrive by accident. It arrives because of a long series of small, unremarkable decisions made years, sometimes decades before. Not dramatic decisions, not once-in-a-lifetime choices, just small, steady ones, repeated quietly over time. That is what we are thinking about tonight. The small, steady decisions and how they accumulate. Close your eyes if they are not already closed. Imagine a morning, not necessarily soon, but someday, when you have no alarm to set. You wake when you are rested. You lie still for a moment because there is no reason to rush. You make your coffee or your tea with the unhurried attention it deserves. You sit somewhere comfortable. You look out a window or read something you have been meaning to read, or simply let the morning be quiet. Nobody needs you to be anywhere yet. Nobody needs you to perform. The day is simply open, the way a field is open, full of possibility, with no particular demand on where you walk. Maybe in your retirement you garden. You spend long afternoons in the dirt, learning the patience of growing things. Maybe you travel slowly, not the frantic kind of travel, not the kind where you pack too much and rush from place to place, but the long, wandering kind, where you stay somewhere long enough to begin to know it. Maybe you learn something you never had time to learn, a language you always meant to speak, a musical instrument, the name of every bird that visits your yard in the early morning, the history of a country you have always been curious about. Maybe your freedom looks like time with people you love, not squeezed into a weekend or borrowed from a holiday, but given generously and without the background hum of responsibility pulling you away. This is what waits at the end of a long, patient financial life. It is not a luxury reserved for the extraordinarily wealthy. It is the natural result of making small, steady, unremarkable choices over many years. Anyone who saves something consistently for long enough is moving toward that open morning. There is no secret ingredient. There is no trick or shortcut or piece of information that only certain people have access to. There is only time and what you do with a little money inside of it. That is the idea we are sitting with tonight. And it is one of the most restful ideas in all of finance, once you let yourself actually feel it. Here is the most important thing. Most people learn too late about saving for retirement. Time matters more than amount. Read that again slowly. Let it rest. Starting earlier, even with a small amount, is worth more than starting later with a large amount. Not slightly more, significantly more. The kind of more that changes the entire shape of a financial life. This sounds almost too simple to be true, but it is one of the deepest truths in personal finance, and it is one that rewards the patient and the early over the clever and the late. Think about it this way. Imagine two people. The first person starts saving for retirement when they are young. They save a modest amount every month, nothing dramatic, nothing that requires extraordinary sacrifice. They do this for many years, quietly and without fanfare, and then they stop. Life changes. Perhaps they have a family. Perhaps they take a different financial path for a while, but they leave what they saved alone. They do not touch it. The second person starts later. They start during their peak earning years, when their salary is larger and they can afford to save more each month. They save more aggressively than the first person ever did. They do this for many years, all the way to the edge of retirement. In many cases, the first person arrives at retirement with more. Not because they were more disciplined, not because they were luckier, not because they earned more or understood finance better, simply because they started earlier and gave their savings more time. This seems almost unfair when you see it clearly. Time is the great equalizer in retirement savings, and also, sometimes, the great advantage. It rewards the person who began, not necessarily the person who contributed the most. Think of it like planting a tree. If you plant a tree today, in 20 years, you have something with roots and shade and branches. Something that has grown into its own size and character. If you plant the same tree 10 years from now, you have something still new, still small, still finding its way. The tree is the same. The soil is the same. The difference is only time. Your money in a retirement account is the same. Put a little in the ground early. Then leave it alone. Time does the rest. If you are young and listening to this, hear it gently. Start now. Not when you earn more. Not when things feel more stable. Now, even the smallest amount. The smallest amount you can set aside without noticing it. if you are not so young anymore, hear this instead. It is not too late. It is never too late to plant. The tree you plant today is still a tree. Starting now is still worth far more than not starting. And the years you give your savings from here forward still matter deeply. Let's stay with that image a little longer. The tree. You plant it. You water it sometimes. You do not dig it up every few months to check the roots. You do not move it from place to place looking for better soil. You simply leave it where it is and go about your life, and trust that even when you cannot see it growing, it is. That is what time does to money that is patiently invested. In the early years, you may not notice much. The numbers are small. The growth is slow. You might look at what you have saved and wonder whether it is doing anything at all, whether the whole project is worth continuing. It is. It is absolutely worth continuing. Because underneath the surface, something is accumulating, quietly, without drama or announcement. Layer upon layer, so slowly that no single day looks like progress. But year upon year, the shape of it is unmistakable. A decade passes. You look and it has grown. 2 decades. You look again and it has grown in a way that surprises you. 3 decades. And now it is something you could not have imagined when you planted it. Not because of anything spectacular you did. Not because of a brilliant investment or a lucky moment. Because you left it alone long enough for time to do what time does. There is a phrase for this in finance: the time value of money. It means that money today, given time, becomes more than money today. Not because of inflation or guesswork, because of the simple, persistent mathematics of growth. Every year you give your savings, you give them 1 more year to grow, and 1 more year after that. Each year stacks onto the last. Each year's growth becomes part of the base for the next year's growth. This is the patient arithmetic of a long financial life. And the beautiful thing, the genuinely restful thing, is that you do not have to understand the arithmetic at all. You do not have to calculate anything tonight. You do not have to know the mechanics. You only have to understand the direction. Put something away. Leave it alone. Let time do what it does. That is the whole strategy, in its simplest and truest form. Now let us think about how much to save. Not precisely, not with a formula, just the shape of it. The most durable advice across many different schools of financial thought, across many different eras and economies, is some version of this. Save a steady portion of every paycheck before you see it, before you spend it, and leave it alone. Not every cent you earn, just a slice. Think of your paycheck as a loaf of bread. When it arrives, before you sit down to eat, you slice off a piece and put it away. You place it somewhere safe, somewhere your future self can reach, but your present self cannot easily touch. You do not miss what you never handled. The rest of the loaf feeds your present life. The size of the slice matters less than the consistency. Saving a smaller amount every single month without fail over many years will grow into something that surprises you. Saving a larger amount some months, but skipping others is harder to sustain and harder to trust. Consistency is the quiet power in this entire enterprise. Not brilliance, not access to special information, not a perfect market or a lucky era, just consistency, the same slice, month after month, year after year, regardless of how you feel about it on any particular month. And here is a gentle truth about human nature. You will adapt to whatever slice you save. If you set aside 15% of what you earn, your life will quietly arrange itself around the remaining 85. You will find, after a few months, that you do not miss it, that your sense of what is available to you has simply shifted. If you save 10%, your life will arrange itself around 90. Our spending has a way of filling whatever container we give it. So the most painless saving is the kind that happens before you see what arrived. Automatic, quiet, not a decision you remake each month, just a habit already in motion. Set it to leave before you count what arrived. Let your life shape itself around what remains, and trust that the slice you put away is sitting somewhere, quietly growing with every month that passes. Many years from now, in that wide open morning with no alarm to set, you will feel something like gratitude for the person you were tonight. There is a word you will hear often in personal finance: compounding. It is the word for the reason time matters so much. Let us move through it slowly, without hurry. When your money grows, the growth itself begins to grow. Here is the image again. That small coin you planted like a seed. After the first year, it has grown a little. Now, in the second year, something important has happened. It is not just the original coin growing anymore. It is the coin plus everything it earned in year one. All of it together, growing now as one thing. By year 5, you are growing your original savings plus 4 years of accumulated earnings. All of it together as one compounding whole. By year 10, the base has grown so large that the growth in a single year may exceed what you saved in your first several years combined. This is compounding, the growth growing, interest earning interest, the tree putting out new branches, and those branches putting out their own. It starts slow. In the early years, it can feel almost invisible, almost too small to matter. That is the hardest part, the part where patience is most required, because you are trusting something you cannot yet see. But it builds, quietly and without fanfare. It builds upon itself, until one day you look at what a year of growth has added, and you realize it is more than you contributed in the first years of saving. And then more, and then significantly more. This is why patience is not just a pleasant virtue in retirement planning. Patience is the entire strategy. There is nothing to do but stay. Leave the money in place. Keep adding your steady slice. Let it keep stacking growth upon growth, year upon patient year. The people who interrupt this process, who pull money out when things feel uncertain, who stop contributing during difficult stretches, who chase something that seems to offer faster returns and start the whole process over somewhere else, are the ones who pay a real cost. Not a cost they can easily see, but a cost measured in years of compounding that never happened. The people who do not interfere, who save quietly and consistently, and then resist every temptation to meddle, are the ones who arrive at retirement having let time and compounding carry most of the weight. You do not have to be brilliant to do this. You do not have to be lucky. You do not have to be an expert in markets or economics. You just have to be patient. And patience, out of everything that money asks of you, costs nothing at all. Over the course of a long saving life, there will be years when things do not look good. Markets will fall, sometimes dramatically. Headlines will speak in alarmed voices. People around you will worry out loud about what is happening, and worry has a way of being contagious, especially when the numbers in an account confirm it. During those times, your retirement savings on paper will look smaller than they did, perhaps noticeably smaller, perhaps enough to make your stomach tighten. This is the moment, more than any other, that separates the patient investor from the anxious one. The patient person remembers several things. They remember that they do not need that money yet. It is a tree still growing. The seasons change. Some winters are hard. Some winters strip the branches bare. But the root system is still there. And when spring comes, as it has always come, the tree grows again. They remember that they did not build this plan for this moment. They built it for decades from now. And this moment, frightening as it feels, is not the end of the story. They remember that every significant downturn in the long history of markets has, given enough time, been followed by recovery. Not every individual investment, not every category or every corner of every economy, but the broad, patient, diversified kind of investing, the kind that holds many things across many sectors, that does not bet everything on a single outcome, has shown a remarkable, repeated resilience. This is not a promise about what the future will hold. Nobody can make that promise honestly. But the long arc of financial history suggests that staying the course through the difficult seasons has served patient people well. So when those uncertain years arrive, and they will, try to remember what you are doing. Remember why you started. You are not speculating on short-term outcomes. You are growing something over decades. A hard winter is not the end of a tree. It is just a winter. The best thing to do in a difficult market year is often the hardest thing. Nothing. Stay, keep contributing if you are able. Resist the urge to watch too closely. Trust the roots. And know that the uncomfortable feeling of watching numbers fall is not a signal that something has gone wrong with your plan. It is simply the cost of being present during a difficult season. The plan itself is still sound. Underneath everything we have discussed tonight, underneath the compounding, underneath the patience, underneath the steady slice, and the years of letting time work, there is one quieter, more fundamental idea: living below your means. This phrase has been said so many times that it can feel like a cliche, but it is worth saying again, slowly, tonight. Living below your means does not mean living poorly. It does not mean deprivation or joylessness or refusing every comfort. It does not mean comparing every purchase to its retirement savings equivalent. It simply means choosing again and again over many years to spend a little less than you earn, to let some money stay instead of all of it going. It means that when your income rises, when the raise arrives, when a better opportunity comes, when life becomes more financially comfortable, not all of the extra goes immediately to a larger house or a newer car or a more expensive version of what you already had. Some of it goes quietly to your future. It means that the small, recurring expenses, the ones that feel too minor to examine, the ones that each feel harmless on their own, are worth examining occasionally. Not with guilt, not with severity, just with gentle attention, because they add up over years into something large. This is not a lecture about frugality for its own sake. Life is to be enjoyed. The things you genuinely love spending on are worth spending on. Good meals, real experiences, time with people who matter to you. These are not wasteful. They are the point. But try to let a little of every paycheck be the kind of spending your future self will thank you for. And here is the quiet truth behind many peaceful retirements. The people who arrive there with the most ease are rarely the ones who earned the most. They are the ones who, whatever they earned, spent less than that. Not dramatically less, not ascetically less, just a little less, consistently, over time. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is the seed. That gap is the tree. Guard it gently over many years and let it grow. If you are here, if you have been listening to this, something is already in motion. You are thinking about the long view. You are sitting with questions about your future self. You are letting these ideas land instead of pushing them away. That already puts you somewhere most people are not willing to go. Retirement is a topic many people avoid, not because they do not care, but because thinking about the future can feel overwhelming. The distance seems too large. The numbers seem too significant. The whole thing seems easier to deal with later. You are not dealing with it later. You are here now, in the dark, letting it be part of your thinking. That matters. You do not need to have everything figured out tonight. No one does. The path to a peaceful retirement is not a precise blueprint that must be followed exactly. It is more like a compass heading, a direction held consistently over time. Save something. Spend a little less than you earn. Leave your savings alone long enough for time to work. Return to these things when you drift from them without harsh judgment and keep going. Some months will be better than others. Some years will feel like progress, and others will feel like standing still. There will be seasons when life asks more of you than your savings plan anticipated, and you will adapt, and then you will return. The path does not require perfection. It only requires direction. And at the end of a long enough journey in that direction, the destination comes, not with fanfare, not with a dramatic moment, quietly, the way most good things arrive. You will not notice the exact month when your savings cross the threshold where they are growing faster than you can contribute. But it will happen. You will not notice the exact year when your future feels more solid beneath you than it once did. But that too will come. The path is long. It is supposed to be long. That length is not a problem to solve. It is precisely what makes it work. And you are on it. You are already on it, just by being here tonight. Let your body be heavy. Let the room be as quiet as it wants to be. Tonight you thought about retirement, not the worried version, the patient version, the version that lives at the end of a long, quiet financial life and simply waits there like an open morning. You thought about what retirement really is, not an ending, but an arrival, a morning with no alarm, a day that belongs entirely to you. You thought about starting early and how the years you give your savings matter as much as the amount, about the tree you plant and leave alone, about time doing its slow, invisible work even while you sleep. You thought about saving a steady slice, consistent, automatic, before it disappears into the current of spending, about how your life arranges itself around whatever you leave it, about the quiet adaptation of living on a little less. You thought about compounding, the growth of growth, stacking gently year upon patient year, building into something larger than anything a single contribution could explain. You thought about the uncertain seasons and how staying the course is often the most important thing a patient investor can do. You thought about the quiet foundation beneath all of it. Spending a little less than you earn over a long time and letting the gap between the two grow into something your future self will be grateful for. You do not need to carry all of this into sleep. Let most of it drift wherever thoughts go when you rest. If one idea stays, just one, that is enough for tonight. Maybe it is the tree. Plant the seed. Leave it alone. Give it time. Maybe it is the slice. Save a little from every loaf before you sit down to eat. Maybe it is just the feeling, the sense that retirement is not something to fear, that it is a wide, soft morning somewhere ahead of you, already growing closer with every patient month. Whatever stays, let it be quiet. Let it settle. The future is being built even as you sleep, not by worry, not by watching the numbers, by the slow, invisible accumulation of time doing what time does on your behalf without you having to do anything at all. Your savings are at rest. And so now are you. Sleep well